Hi guys, Sugar Sky here. I said I was going to do a guitar lesson tonight, or I said last night or today, which is this morning. Anyway, let's do a guitar lesson. Let's just dive right in. I've been doing some meditating on both my technique and theory of music. A lot of it comes to me on my walks, and I'd like to share some of it with you, make a little guitar lesson. Okay. Let's tune up. Often I tune to an open E chord. I don't go, that kind of thing. I just play an open E chord or whatever and tune to that. Should we do technique first? I think Eddie Van Halen said that using the pinky on the left hand is very much a mental thing, meaning not crazy, but meaning that it's in the mind. And once you get the mind around using the little finger on the left hand, you're more likely to use it, I think is what he meant. And I like to get my mind around the different techniques. So the physical execution of them becomes secondary and automatic. Sometimes, what do you call it? Muscle memory and second nature type of thing. So I like to discuss three types of technique. I like to discuss left hand fingering, which includes using the pinky, alternate picking, and sometimes sweep picking, and tapping. I like to discuss those techniques. I've worked on meditating on all those. And then I like to get into the kind of a theory lesson, a part of the lesson, I should say. So first, I want to talk about the left hand. You want to use all four fingers. And a good test, you don't have to do this because it's just a visual thing. But a good test to see if you've really got your left hand fingering down as far as using your pinky is to play over the neck and see how that works for you. Not that it sounds good, but it shows you that you're willing to let your pinky be the anchor finger, because when you switch the hands and when you invert them, finger 4 becomes finger 1, finger 3 becomes finger 2, finger 2 becomes finger 3, and finger 1 becomes finger 4. So it shows you that you're able to think in both, that you're really able to use your pinky and visualize it in your mind. Playing left-handed under the neck, you know you've got your pinky together. Plus it's good just to train your hand to do like something different. I don't advise doing that in a studio where you can hear everything. It's not the best sound, but it shows you that if you can invert the fingers, you really have your handle around the pinky. If you find you can't invert them, then you probably aren't using your pinky like you probably maybe should. That's just my opinion. Next, picking, alternate picking. My idea on that right now is polarity. Marty Friedman did this from Megadeth and also Cacophony. Did an instruction video which I kind of didn't like, but he's Marty Friedman, so I still dig him. But he says that first of all he doesn't like to pick all the same way all the time. He likes to make it sound different. But then he contradicts that a little bit with an oxymoronic statement where he says it started with lick on a downstroke. Well, nothing wrong with that, but there's a line in Stairway to Heaven that says, yes, there are two paths you can go by, but in the long run, there's still time to change the road you're on. And I always thought of that as picking-wise. There's two paths, I mean, there's down and up, but it's not too late to change your path you're on. You can go down, up, or down, up, or up, down. And I think that odd numbers of pick strokes is good exercises, either 3, 5, or whatever, mostly 3 and 5. Because you start on the opposite stroke each time. If it's 3, you go down, then up, down, up, down, up. And that's good exercise. It's polarity, meaning down, up, down. The inverted is up, down, up, and that's called changing polarity. And 5, we broke down that. Down, up, 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 down, up. And it gets you to work on starting. Don't start with the downstroke all the time. Sometimes reverse that and start with an upstroke. In fact, my ex-mentor, one of them, told me once that the pickup of a guitar actually puts a different type of signal on a downstroke than it does an upstroke. He said pickups treat a downstroke with a positive charge, and pickups treat an upstroke with a negative charge, kind of like protons and electrons in an atom. Positive charge, negative charge. And I think that's true, because I think it's a different sound. If you do I think a downstroke actually sounds different than an upstroke. I mean, like this, it sounds different. It sounds different. Each of those times I switched from down, up, down, up, down, up, and it sounded different each time. And that's what's cool about guitar playing, one of them, at least electric guitars. I'm not sure if acoustic guitars can say that because they don't have an electronic pickup, but the downstroke sounds different than an upstroke. And by the way, the pinky sounds different, has a different vibe than the other fingers. Eric Johnson said so himself. Conscious about not just starting all the time with a downstroke. Start with an upstroke sometimes. I mean, it keeps you on your toes and it has a different sound than always starting with a downstroke. You know? Plus, most people do, so it's a good way to sound like somebody else, like yourself. It's good to sound different by not doing what everyone else does. And if everyone's always sounding with a downstroke, then start with an upstroke. I like that. It's more of a feminine yin type of sound as opposed to the downstroke. The upstroke first sounds good. It's a different sound, and I like that. So work on don't just start every lick with a downstroke, and remember that down, up, down, reverse is up, down, up, like do. No, do, up, down, up. But whatever. And now the next technique is tapping. I find mentally that's important too, because I don't tap with my first finger, so I've got to visualize my second and third fingers for tapping, and I don't usually use my pinky. I can technically do that, but I don't see the advantage of it. But I like tapping with my second and third fingers of the right hand, and just get it in your head that you're, be. Robert Fripp said, "Be alive in your finger, or be alive in your hand." Just be alive in your second and third fingers, and just be aware of them. Van Halen was so great about inventing tapping. One of the things that gets overlooked, I think, is that he influenced others to tap. It wasn't just he tapped, is it great, but he started that for everyone else to take over and to do it too. Steve Vai and Red Beach of Winger and just other people, Paul Gilbert, just took tapping further, and that's a real innovator. Not just one that says, "Well, I play great, now that ends there." He helped all the rest of us play great too, going beyond what he did, and that's really a great innovation. That we love you. Oh, by the way, Mozart died today, 233 years ago. Mozart would have been 268 today. So R.I.P. Mozart. I'm sorry that the next day after that is my birthday. So tomorrow I'm 58 years old. And I'm sandwiched between Mozart's death on December 5th and Pearl Harbor Day on December 7th. I'm right in between December 6th. So today Mozart died, tomorrow's my birthday, and the next day's Pearl Harbor Day. So at least I'm sandwiched between those two calamitous days. So R.I.P. Mozart, we love you. So now I'd like to get into actual music theory and the way let's just do that, okay? Now, Pat Martino had a good theory in like 1997 or something like that, where he took symmetrical structures and altered them by one sharp or altered them by one flat, and got certain consonant things from that. Symmetrical structures are usually dissonant, but if you alter just one note of it up or down, you get a little bit consonants. And I'm going to take it further than Pat, because he only did triads and dominant seventh. He only did triads and seventh chords. By seventh, I mean 4-note chords. And he didn't mention, and when he did 4-note chords, he didn't mention the minor 7-5-5 or half diminished option. And he didn't do 2-note chords, which are power chords, based on the tritone, so I'm going to add that. Other than that, Pat Martino did this, but I'm adding a little to it, and I'm renewing it by doing it now. So in case you guys were around and didn't read the articles in 1997 or whatever, I'll do a version now so you can get it. So let's start with we're going to do 3 different symmetrical things. We're going to do the tritone, which is a symmetrical interval. We're going to do the augmented triad, which is a symmetrical triad, and we're going to do the diminished seventh arpeggio, which is a symmetrical seventh chord. By seventh, I mean 4-note chord. 1, 3, 5, 7, 4 notes. Start with the tritone. So it divides the octave evenly. So let's do it on G. D sharp or E flat, and G. So it's 6 half steps. 6 now what you do is you raise or lower one of the notes. So let's raise the middle note of that 1 fret. That gives a power chord. All I did is raise one note of the tritone. If I flatten one note of the tritone, I get an inverted power chord. It's an inverted power chord. Instead of a 5th below a 4th, it's a 4th below a 5th. So instead of this, it's a 5th. But that gets overlooked. It's a nice chord. Instead of 5th, 4th, it's 4th, 5th. Or so, I don't know. It's a regular power chord. But either one of those is just a tritone altering one of the notes, either sharp or flat. If you sharpen it, it's a power chord. If you flat one of the notes of it, it's a inverted power chord. So tritone, sharp, power chord. Flat is inverted power chord. Pat didn't talk about that particular thing. I'm the first so far, I think, that I know to mention that fact, at least in a video or whatever. Next is the symmetrical triad, which is an augmented triad. G so that's G, B, E flat, and G. Symmetrical triad, major third, major third, major third. 4 frets, 4 frets, 4 frets. Makes 12. That's an octave. 12 frets. What you do is you sharp one note or flatten one note of it. Let's sharpen this note here. So first sharp this one note. That's a minor triad. All I did is I had G, and then I sharped the B to C, and then I still have E flat, and G makes a minor triad. Just by sharpening one of the notes of the augmented triad. Sharpen one of the notes. Try it. You can can do either of the three. You can sharpen the one that's down here. Like this. Sure I did that right. Oh, I did. Okay. Sharpen the root. I didn't do that right. Somebody tells me I did that wrong. Oh, I get it. I sharpen. Here, let's try it again. Sharpen the root. You get this. Still not right. Sharpen, you should get a minor triad. I think you do. That's a major one. Why did I get a major fret? Oh, I forgot. This is true. I've never done this before. Here's another try. Sharpen the root. There you go. Yeah. It's a G sharp minor triad. G sharp, the G of an augmented triad to G sharp. And before we had the B to C, we had a C minor triad. Now I'm going to sharpen the other note. Here's an augmented triad. Sharp the E flat to an E, and you get this. And that's an E minor triad. So, by sharpening any note of the augmented triad, you get a minor triad. And I'm going to do the same thing with flattening one of the notes of the augmented triad. So let's try that. First, the augmented triad. I'm going to flatten the middle note. I'm going to flatten the B to a B flat, and I get that. Do that right? Yeah. That becomes an E flat major triad. And now I'm going to flatten the E flat to a D. So start with an augmented triad. Flat the E flat to a D, and that's a G major triad. Take the augmented triad again. And flatten the root of it. So I would get this. You can't flat the open string, but you can go like this. Flat the G to an F sharp. And that becomes a B major triad. Going up here because you can't flatten the open string. So it's so anyway. So if you wait. Yeah, if you flatten any note of an augmented triad, you get a major triad. If you sharpen any note of augmented triad, you get a minor triad. And since there's 3 notes in a minor triad, any one minor triad can give you 3 majors or 3 minors of triads. But since there's 4 augmented triads in the octave, you also have 3 times 4 major triads from flattening one of the notes, and 3 times 4, which is 12 minor triads by sharpening one of the notes. So that's interesting. So when you're lost on the fingerboard, just always think if you start with an augmented triad and alter one of the notes, you're going to get a consonant harmony. You're going to get a major triad or a minor triad in one of the 3 inversions. What we did there is change one of the notes, sharp or flat, and get a major or minor triad. That's really cool. The last thing is diminished 7th arpeggio or chord. Diminished 7th. I'm going to do that on the G string also. So you have minor third, minor third, minor third, minor third. If you sharpen one of the notes of that, you get a minor 7.5 or half diminished thing by sharpening one of the notes. Let's sharpen the G to a G sharp and see what you get. So I'll start with this. I'm going to sharp the G to G sharp, and I'm going to get this. Watch this. That's a G. That's a B flat minor 7.5. Any of the four notes of a diminished 7th arpeggio, and you get a minor 7.5. Let's try a different note to sharpen. Sharpen the B flat to B, and you get this. And that's a D flat minor 7.5. Back to the diminished 7. Sharpen the E to an F, and you get this. Oops, I didn't want to do that wrong. Yeah, that's right. You get that would be a G minor 7.5. Back to the diminished 7th. Sharp the G to G sharp, and you get this. And that's a B flat minor 7.5. And then if you flatten one of the notes of a diminished 7th arpeggio, you get a dominant 7th arpeggio. Let's go back to the diminished 7th. Flat the G to an F sharp, and you get this. Watch this. Oh, I goofed, didn't I? Sorry, guys. You have to flatten the G to F sharp. So start with the dominant 7th, diminished 7th arpeggio. Flat the G to F sharp, and you get this. You get that's an F sharp dominant 7th chord or arpeggio. And if I flatten, let's go back to the diminished 7th. Flatten the B flat to an A, and you get this. That's an A dominant 7th. Back to the diminished 7th. If I sharp the D flat back up to D, I get this. And that's an E down 7. Finally, back to the diminished 7. I flattened the G to. I already did that, didn't I? So I think that's all of them. I did 4 of them, I hope. Flatten the G to F sharp again. I would have. Which is F sharp dominant 7. If I flatten the B flat to A, I get. Which is A dominant 7. Flatten the D flat to a C, I get this. I get. Make sure I get this right. And I get this. I would get this. Oh, and that's the one I didn't do yet. That's a C dominant 7. Flattening the D flat to a C. I get a C dominant 7th. Dominant 7th one more time. Let's see. Flatten E flat. That would be a E flat dominant 7th. Flatten the G to F sharp, I get F sharp dominant 7. So what we've learned is that you start with any diminished 7th arpeggio. Sharpening one of the notes gets you a minor 7 flat 5 and arpeggio, and flattening any of the notes gets you a dominant 7th arpeggio. So since there's 4 notes in a diminished 7th arpeggio, you get 4 different dominant 7th arpeggios by flattening one of the notes, and you get 4 different minor 7 flat 5 arpeggios by sharpening one of the notes. And since there's 3 diminished 7th chords in an octave, you have 4 times 3 equals 12 dominant 7th arpeggios or minor 7 flat 5 arpeggios, all just by taking a diminished 7th arpeggio and flattening or sharpening one of the notes in it. And that was also covered by Pat Martino, but he didn't mention the minor 7 flat 5 thing. He only mentioned flattening one of the notes to make a dominant 7th. He didn't say if you sharpen the notes to get a minor 7 flat 5, and that much I did that. So anytime you have a symmetrical thing, like a tritonal, flatten, sharpen a note, that's a consonance. Or try flattening a note, that's a consonance. Or an augmented triad. Sharpen the note, get a minor triad. Flatten the note, major triad. See? Diminished 7th. Sharpen the notes, I get a minor 7 flat 5. Which would be interesting sound. I like that. Flat one of the notes, and I get a dominant 7th of it. Up here. Let's sharpen the notes to get a minor 7 flat 5. Flatten one of the notes and get a dominant 7. Here. Sharpen the notes and get a minor 7 flat 5. Flatten one of the notes to get a dominant 7. Dominant 7th, flatten one of the notes and get them on 7 flat 5. I like that sound. Sharpen the notes to get a dominant 7th. Make sure I did that right. No, you have to flatten one of the notes to get a dominant 7th, which I think I did. Did I? Flatten one of the notes. Oh, that's right. Let's do it. Let's flat the top note. So here's a diminished 7th. Flat the top note to get a dominant 7th. That's correct. Diminished 7th. dominant seventh. Sharp with a note. That's a minus 755. So I basically connected the power chord to a tritone. I connected the minor triad and major triad to augmented triads, and I connected the dominant seventh and minus 755 arpeggios to diminished 7th arpeggios. And it's a way of looking at guitar that not many people do, I think. Again, minus 755. That's a G, that would be a dominant 7. G dominant 7. In fact, that's literally one of the links in the lecture. I'm not going to go on. So yeah, that's my theory, little squirt for heaven. So the most consonant things are just symmetrical things with the note sharp or flatted. Now, I want to go, before I go, I want to do one more little topic. I want to do the whole tone scale can be played with too, and that's a symmetrical thing. It's whole tone, whole tone, whole tone, whole tone, whole tone, whole tone. Let's do it in the high string. Well, it's tricky, but you can alter that to either get an enigmatic mode or an ergonomic mode, which I call the inversion or negative harmony of the enigmatic mode. But you have to flatten or sharpen a note, and you have to add a note to it to do that, because the whole tone scale only has 6 notes. Let's generate the enigmatic mode. So start with the whole tone scale. Add the major 7th to make a leading whole tone scale. I just added the major 7th to it, so it's 6 notes. Now to make an enigmatic mode, just flat the 2nd note in the scale. So you get this. Enigmatic mode. Now the ergonomic mode is the negative harmony and a lot of conversion of that. To do that, you make a leaning whole tone scale, which is adding a flat 2nd to the whole tone scale. And then you actually raise the 7th to a natural 7th. That's an ergonomic scale, which is what I called it in the negative harmony in the enigmatic mode. So then you have 12 enigmatic modes based on whichever note you start on, and 12 ergonomic modes depending on whichever note you start on. So with a simple whole tone scale, well, if it is simple, well, add a certain note, flat another note, or add a certain note and sharp a certain note, you either get enigmatic mode or ergonomic mode, which I think that's cool. Enigmatic mode, ergonomic mode. Lesson, but you guys keep talking now.